Ted Cruz has picked up a major endorsement today. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker made the announcement this morning on a local radio show in the state. Cruz is campaigning in that state today.
Let me say, Governor Scott Walker is a strong, principled conservative. Governor Walker, with the help of the men and women gathered here today and all across this state, won an election, and then another election, and then another election. And when Scott stood up to the union bosses, when Scott saw death threats and attacks and protests and anger and yells, millions of men and women all across the state of Wisconsin stood with Governor Scott Walker. And y'all's heroic stand together inspired millions across the country. It inspired me. It showed that when we, the people, stand up together, we can beat the special interests that are bankrupting our kids and grandkids.
Ted Cruz, the patriot.
Let me tell you, I am humbled to be in the presence of patriots who we are all fighting for this country we love so much. And the courage, the principle that was demonstrated and is demonstrated every day by Scott Walker, by the men and women of Wisconsin, we need that courage, we need that principle in Washington, D.C., taking on the special interests.
That was Ted Cruz just moments ago in Brookfield, Wisconsin. It comes as the latest poll in Wisconsin shows Cruz, as you can see here, in a virtual dead heat with Donald Trump, though that shows you what the numbers nationally among registered Republicans. Earlier, we talked to Major Garrett about what, if any, impact Walker's endorsement might have on the Cruz campaign.
I don't think Scott Walker means anything outside of Wisconsin, and there's certainly no one in the Cruz campaign who believes he's going to be a vital surrogate outside of this state. And even within this state, he has a relatively low, comparatively low approval rating, about 39%, much higher amongst Republicans. But the one thing that Scott Walker does do is he sort of galvanizes that sense that conservatives and reform-minded Republicans of this state are simply not going to go for Donald Trump, and they're going to sidle up with Ted Cruz. Cruz still has quite a few people in Congress and elsewhere on the sidelines. They're waiting to see if, in fact, he wins the state of Wisconsin. If he wins, and not only wins outright, but carries a majority or nearly all of the 42 delegates up for grabs, that could bring more endorsements to Cruz's campaign. So Wisconsin is an important test case for the Cruz campaign. And for Trump, his campaign is already beginning to diminish expectation, or certainly lower them, in the sense that this state is not necessarily one he can win, and that Cruz has to sort of run the table here, get almost all the delegates to remain competitive. That's not mathematically true, but you can hear that in the Trump rationales already, that they may not win this state, and they will prefer to fight Cruz on ground much more favorable to the Trump campaign: New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and possibly California.